You know a storyteller when you see one. I'm Msomi and I'm your host on today's episode of The Insight. Anghambi ngedwa as always. We have Khabazela Mkhize who goes by Theo the Kids. Welcome to the show. Always wanted to do
I
this.
always wanted to do like West Side.
West Side.
Even though I'm from the East. It makes no sense.
Welcome to the show and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Taking your time. And you were there today, guys. Yo.
First, Ganeta, bro.
Ganeta.
Ganeta and ngaba manzi itaxi yavele yami station cisha ngaba late nje yabo nje. But anyway.
You know, having a conversation with Theo and listening to your music.
Okay.
I've noticed something that you are a storyteller.
Really?
Like Leonto Leo, have you always known or have you always felt like you have a story to tell every time?
That's an interesting question because since from my childhood, like I never used to leave the house. I never used to leave the house. My mom would be like, go to school, come back from school, do your homework. And are you done with your homework? Like, yes. Okay, there's a book to read. No. The book with
other kids.
With other kids, no. You don't know bad vibes out here. So my mom used to make me read books, you know. So I think that's when like the whole story thing just kind of like took roots in my head, because even now, like looking back at it, it's like I've always loved a good story. I don't care how old the book is or how recent a movie is. If it has a good story, it smacks. You understand? So with that aspect of myself in my music, or like telling stories, I think it's become like embedded into my DNA. Futhi, not just with me personally. I mean, like as like a people, we grew up on stories. You know, before we had all of this, we always used to have like Okoko Nomkhulu just telling us like Inganewani and stuff. And it's like, and I was like, oh my god. Now looking back at it, it's just like, this thing was corny. But we grew up on stories. Like if you were to actually trace back the history, like we always like told each other stories. We never used to write things down on paper. We never had that stuff. We would just talk. So I know that was like a long answer, but you know, it just always.
You want that? He is a storyteller for real. For real.
So that's where it just all stems from. You know, like the book reading, and then just like finding different mediums of storytelling through music and movies and all sorts of things. So yeah.
So would you say whenever you write umculo wakho or actually singing your songs, would you say you actually do it in a way yoguthi a person should actually relate or learn something through your music?
It's become subconscious now. It's become subconscious. I never used to be okay. Well, when I got into music, I never used to be like that. Like, you know, like when I first started listening to music, I never used to like consciously say like, okay, I want to listen to something that has a story. Like as I said, it was a subconscious thing from Mkhize. But like consciously, if you're looking at it right now, it's just like, you know what? I listen to music and I take nothing away from it that is constructive. And then that's when I took the conscious decision. You're like, you know what? Let me actually say something in a song. It doesn't have to be like that deep. It doesn't have to have like ocean depth. But as long as you took something from it, and it doesn't matter what I want you to take from it, you have to be able to take something away for yourself, because that is essentially what art is.
And you can interpret it when and the person in listening to your song can be like, okay, I understand that one.
According to your mental paradigm. I know that's a big word.
We have to look that one up.
That's a big word. It's according to your mental paradigm, which is basically like your how do I explain this? It's like that's what's saying, you know, like you see what, like say you're in Durban and you have a Durban map, then you have the right paradigm for that area. So like a paradigm is essentially like a map. So then when you're looking at something, you say, okay, that is this on this map. So if you have like a different paradigm, that just essentially means you have a different map. So like a paradigm is this thing that alters your perception about certain things. So I could say like, say you're looking at a house, and like the one wall is red, the one wall is blue, and we are all in different sides of this house. You know, it's different colors. And let's say I'm looking at the blue side. I say this house is blue.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the blue wall.
Side, yeah.
You are looking at the red wall, and you say, no, this house is red. And I'm like, no, bro, you're lying. It's blue. You know, there is no right or wrong. We're just looking at the same thing, but from different perspectives. Yeah. Well, so that's essentially what a paradigm, how a paradigm operates.
Have you always known that you're talented? When it comes to music.
Talented.
Or when did you find out to go to okay?
When did I find out to go to like
I'm
actually good at like making music? I don't know, man. It's like Kazeni, like even in my family, you know, my mom, like in the church, she used to be like the choir master and all that. Well, like initially, I never actually liked singing.
Yeah.
No, I actually never liked singing. No, I never liked singing because it was something that she would like impose on me. You know what I mean? But music has always been in the family, like all the time. You know, I think I can safely say I'm the first person in the family to be like, you know what, I'm actually gonna make music as a career. You know what I mean? So it started. I think I was at the age of, was it 12 or 13? But around that time, I remember it was 2011. I wrote my first verse. Like at the time when I wrote that verse, I was like, yeah,
like,
I can do
you
this.
felt it, that
I can
this
do
is
this.
me.
Like actually, you know what? Like I can actually do this.
You can actually do this.
You know what I mean? You know? But like looking back at the verse now, it's garbage. Like it's whack.
Because the upgrade, eh?
Yeah, you know, like obviously you have to grow in terms of like your music and such. But funny story actually, how I actually got into music. It was like I got into music. Abu Lil Wayne, you know, Punchline. He was there. He was the dude. Like we used to like rap Lil Wayne, and funny enough, I always used to think that making music was strictly for rich people, cause you know, like they see you, they flossing, the eyes, the money, the cars, the money, the houses, the girls. Ooh. You know what I mean? And then like until I saw the one dude down the road. I was visiting his little brother because he was my friend, or he's now my friend also. But I saw him, he was like sitting in his room just writing a verse, and I looked at him for like a good hour. I didn't say anything. I was there in the room, we didn't talk. He was just like, okay, just be quiet. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I just looked at him and was like, if this dude can rap, why can't I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I went back and wrote the verse, and I was like, like I can actually do this, you know? And then like from then it was just, you know, just like 16s every day, what day.
So you have studied to become a media practitioner. Why study Leo cause Leo instead of just sticking to studying only music?
Why
choose the whole thing?
No, it's because I did it because I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand the whole scope of how music actually operates. Because if I was just to understand music. Now, if it's so like, I'll just be like a master of music, which I slowly am becoming, like safe to say. But this is a generation where information is in abundance. So I needed to like understand what actually goes into the marketing, the advertising, and the public relations of like a brand. Because in this day and age, you know, like the business model, it hasn't changed per se. Like, because it's always the same elements, but the product is different. You know what I mean? It's just that you market it in a different way. With music, what you're selling with music, you're selling a feeling, as opposed to ShopRite selling low prices on products. You understand? So you just need to understand how it works and like how to use these different faculties to like actually make your products thrive in the markets. And not to say I want to be like a one-man operating team. That's impossible. It's just me understanding how the business works, because in this day and age, I mean, it used to work back then. Like all Whitney Houston had to do was to make a nice song, and then the label would just handle the rest. But in this day and age, you actually need to understand what you want for yourself as a brand. Like Jay-Z would say, I am the business. So I need to understand how the business works so that I can operate the business that I'm in. You understand? So that's why I chose to study media as a whole, as opposed to just me like studying music. Because it would have been more difficult if I was just like this guy who has like summa cum laude and like all of these music things, music theory. And Futsiga, another thing was because I had already amassed so much experience in music, and I'm still like amassing more experience with like music theory, production, and all these terms that nobody understands. But it's just this one thing that I was like, I just one decision that I just that I took, and I said, let me just expand my knowledge in other areas because I feel like I'm already like more familiar with this, you know, because self-education is the best education. Exactly. Yeah, well, it's like I believe education exists even outside of the college, you know. The mentality that we have as a people is like, I'm a graduate, but you're freaking jobless, dude. You understand? I'm not saying that that's your fault. They didn't equip you with the right tools. But it's just that people need to shift the paradigm to actually understanding, Uguti, do not use or do not live your life according to what you have, or do not think based on your diploma or your degree, because ungathola ukuthi no one has a demand for that. You know what I mean? Just rather train yourself to look for opportunities where you can grow as a person, as opposed to like confining yourself to this one thing. Because that's the thing that's like hindering us as a people. You understand? It's like, no, I study teaching, therefore I can only teach. No, you can't. There's more to you as an individual than you actually realize. You understand?
Guys, I'm blown away, mean. I don't know about you, but my mind is just blown. And I'm learning. Having a conversation with this guy, like, you learn each and every time. So we know how industry in our corner and Abandababi industry. How important is it for you to stay grounded and, you know, and don't get
sucked in to the whole thing.
Exactly.
Like lose yourself instead of finding yourself. I mean, I love using this metaphor. I don't know why I've become accustomed to this metaphor that I always use, but like look at a tree, né? What does a tree consist of?
Branches and leaves,
fruits. But what's the most important one?
The roots.
Exactly. Woo! Exactly. So if the tree is now disconnected from the roots, how is it gonna survive? How is it even gonna bear any fruits? You understand? So in the industry that we're in, especially as us as kids, you know, like when you see when I left high school with like a mindset you would say like I'm gonna be a star, I'm gonna blow up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm going to stomp on everyone and just own the game. But looking back in hindsight now, it's like I'm actually grateful that I'm still like here because it's giving me like a sense of it doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know. I don't want to be the hottest artist because the hottest artist burns for that specific period of time and then they die out. I don't want to be a person that I don't want to be an artist that dies out. I want to be that artist who practices and masters longevity.
Another word.
Longevity, you know, like I wanna like my relevance should stand even like maybe years from now or like decades from now. But I'm not looking for that because that can only happen if I'm a selfless person, you know. You like a tree doesn't grow for itself. It grows to bear fruits and give life. And then it tells the fruits you actually also have the potential to be a tree. You understand? And then the fruits will be like, oh, okay, let me just get down and then like take out the seeds that is within me. Because like, look at it. Like it's a small ass seed, né? Excuse me for cussing, but it's a small seed, né? You plant it and then it grows into a big tree. So gashi, you can just have one forest from this small seed, which is like an ideal.
Definitely.
You understand? So like what's the point of me like forgetting the roots that I came from if in the long run it's not going to benefit me and my existence even after I leave this earth? Because we exist on earth to impact others. You know, we don't, it's bigger than ourselves. We're not here for ourselves. You know, in order for you to keep doing what you're doing, that's why a lot of guys in the industry that I'm in, they give up. like I was saying, like off the air, thingy before we started the interviews, like I was saying, is that guys are doing this because of the perks, you know. I make music because there's someone out there who needs this.
Yeah.
Not just for me. I make music primarily. I make music for me.
For
If I don't
yourself,
like
yeah.
it, I can't make it.
Yeah.
I can't. You can't say, hey, bro, if you want to blow up, make drill music. No, drill came and went. Where is it now? You understand? If my whole thing was blowing up and being the hottest artist, I would have stopped 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have literally I would have stopped in 2017. It only goes to show, I believe, Ogutse, for me this is deeper than just being the hottest artist or having some sort of possessions. What is it at the end of the day that you are taking away from this? It doesn't necessarily have to be what I intended you to take away from it. You know what I mean? You can even hate the music that I make. It's like, I don't like your music. Yeah, fine. At least you have an opinion on what I'm making, which is your God-given right. You can either like it or you don't.
You don't, yeah.
The mere fact that it's there.
It's not going anywhere.
You understand?
It is there.
It's there, and it's gonna live forever.
Yeah.
You know.
So getting to angels.
Mm-hmm.
How did angels come about? Because we know angels. Angels, it's angels.
They think of the thing that was the white robe
Exactly.
with the wings, and it's flying with the ring on its head. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with that one, but hey, I don't know. But the song Angels, this is the recent release, no?
Yeah.
That one is actually Angels 2. There's the first Angels, yeah. Oh. But I just built on that concept. Angels 2 came about, you know, when we're in the midst of all the looting and stuff, and South Africa's just going through this and going through that. Yeah. But people were going around with like, South Africa is about to die, South Africa's burning, and nani. Bro, we've been burnt. You understand? So Angels was a concept that I've been working on. But Angels 2 specifically, I was working on like other music, and this goes to show like the approach that I come to as like an artist. I was like looking at everything, like the whole aftermath of what was happening in the country. And then like one day I was just sitting in the studio, I was like, and like, so, like the beats was already there, I had to write, and I was like, no man, I need to write about this. Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I need to write. And normally for me, cause like I'm still trying to fight off this perfectionism thing that I have, cause normally it takes me like a good 5 days to like make like a song that's actually of Angels' caliber. But I completed Angels literally in 2 days, because I feel like it needed to be said. And the response, like from a few people, because like the contents of the song is actually like me telling the people that were responsible for the looting, who would say, nah, brah, this is your fault. This is nah. Niggas came at me, they were like, hey, bro, you black too. What the hell? What the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, no, brah, that's the response that I wanted you to give. Yeah. But if you listen to the lyrics carefully, I point the finger, but then the last line of the first verse says, I point the finger at you while I'm pointed at by 3 more, you know? And that was what was going on. That was just me depicting what was going on during that time of the looting. Ogutse, on social media, because businesses were hurt and stuff. Well, some of the businesses were not were black owned, and so a lot of people were pointing fingers at each other. I was like, no, how can you guys do this? Nan. Whilst forgetting, Ogutse, the thing that you point out is essentially what's also deep within you. Again, the paradigm. You have the map. So when you point out something, that something is essentially in your paradigm. So what good is it me blaming someone if I was in that situation?
You've done the same thing.
You understand? So we can't just go around and pointing fingers. And you know, like the response I received is like, oh my gosh, this dude thinks he's all that. But like I'm a person who makes music for you to like actually like listen intently and to break it down like you're breaking bread. You understand? So Angels was just that song that was just like, I mean, I firmly believe God was just like, yo, brah, here's a song, now make it. You understand? So I'm a person who follows vibration all the time, who follows like the energy that I'm feeling at that time. Even if I'm coming in with something like already predetermined, like a lot of people have been saying like, yo, bro, when are you dropping the music and whatnot and
When
whatnot.
are you dropping the music, Gaibo?
No, but then like it's just that I'm just that type of person that likes to premeditate on like ideas, yeah, well, before I execute them. It's sort of like how I'm painting a portrait that's like of a Mona Lisa caliber, or I'm like sculpting out the thinker or something. It's gonna take me years or something, but like I don't want to have to take years. But it's just like the approach that I have with music, yeah. Well, so yeah, that's how Angels came about, and I was pretty miffed when it didn't do what I thought it would do, but it's gonna be there, and when people come back, as I said, longevity. This is a marathon. We're not doing this just to blow up, because I know in the future someone is gonna come back to the song and they be like, "Yo, man, this man has been nice." You know what I mean? Like I've been doing this. Like we have it's a receipt. We have the receipts.
Yeah.
We didn't just like a lot of and just to add. I'm sorry to just veer off, but just to add on what I was talking about, like a lot of people that come into music, they think. The artists that when they get successful, they just think, they woke up one day and then just like, you know what, I'm just gonna be a platinum selling artist, and then they just did it in like a matter of months. No, like they grind it. They don't have leqiniso leli lokuthi nje if basikhombisa ama receipts abo nje ukuthi napusha for like a good 7 years. Some people just think, oh, okay, cool. That's how I also used to think, but you know what I mean. So I know Uguti Angels is gonna be that song that's gonna be like, yo, like this dude actually makes like actual good music. Nakona Gevele gets intellectual property, so the royalty is gonna come in.
Exactly.
You understand? So yeah, that's how Angels came about.
Going back to, you touched the thingy about education.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this one question that we always ask.
Okay.
Do you feel like what we study and the things that we see in the real world, do they link up? Do they actually work hand in hand?
That's a good question. The things that we study,
Yeah.
do they link up with the real world? Again, I'm going to say this. You see, if our education system trained us to look more for opportunities as opposed to actually confining yourself within this thing. I personally believe that we're not being equipped well enough, because we're going through it, guys. Like we are essentially like adulting is not nice. You understand? Adulting is not nice, and we just like we have this depression within our hearts. And anyone can deny it. I don't care if you can deny it. When you're alone in your room, you're thinking about this thing. How am I going to make money? How am I going to support myself? So I feel like it to a certain extent, it kind of does correlate. Like one thing I will say, it sets the foundation well. It sets the foundation well to read, write, all these things. But if they actually were to like operate, if the education system were to operate in such a way, it would say, okay, cool, here's an here's an opportunity, man. What are you gonna make of it? You know what I mean? What are you gonna do with the opportunity? Like say like now you have this, but now hey, it's push comes to shove, you don't get what you initially planned to get. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, when they actually like get out of like college or get out of high school, they have their lives like pretty much planned out, you know. Some of them, they actually carry out those plans but end up miserable in the long run. Others, like myself, we didn't have a plan. We were just like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, we're gonna do it. Yeah, well, that was the plan. No plan, that was the plan. You understand? So I feel like what the education system is essentially lacking is a contingency plan. Now, the big words again. The contingency.
I was telling something, my mom like, okay, I'm not gonna say another word.
No, like a contingency plan, man. A backup plan, essentially. Like a lot of like our parents, they would like me personally, when they were telling me, like when I told them like, yo, bro, like it's funny because I went from dentist, then I went to accountant, then I'm like rapper. You know, you understand? you understand how the parents was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Now tell us, okay. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I just explained the goods and I know this is this is that, this is that.
Yeah.
Like, will you be able to survive? I was like, nah. Like, I'm gonna be able to do this and do that. But like that's why I studied media. I didn't study something because parents they're like, okay, have a backup plan in case in case it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now this is me saying to the education system, develop a backup plan in case the actual plan, which is the backup plan for us creatives, doesn't work. Because there are people out here who have honors bakundu chan. You understand?
It's sad.
It's very sad. You know what I mean? So I think it needs to be something that like trains the minds. Like we should focus more, we should focus not just on like the professions themselves and like history and whatnots, but it should be something you would say like like there should be some sort of curriculum that trains your character, so to speak, because we really find out who we actually are in like the most difficult of moments. You understand? So you can be like, oh, I love this person or I love that person, but when push comes to shove, do you actually love them? That's why it's for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, because it's not always going to be honeymoon sweet. It's like there's going to be times where you're going to be dead ass broke. Yeah, well learned, but I'm trying not to talk so long. Yes. This is why I don't like, not like I don't normally do interviews. Now I'm gonna start again. No, just go. Manje ngizochaza, manje sezolothi ngichaza manje ukuthi why ngichaza kakhulu, you see. So
because the show is cut, guys, and
man.
it was great to have you. And siyazi ukuthi sizigayinela live performance. Sizigayinela live performance. What's that song? Also, performing today.
The song that I'm gonna perform today is called Contemplate. Contemplate is to think and to reason and just to like determine in your head.
Theo,
thank
you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
From me, Ntombi Msomi. Asikasidlale ukhonti. Yeah. I am serious. Consequence.
Nah, bro. Like that's why I title my songs as like big words, yo.
Ay, nango consequence. Ay, this is getting live performance, guys.
Check.
Check mic.
Son banana.
Rappers live.
You understand? Okay. I'm just gonna look at you while I do it.
Lately I've been thinking about quitting rap. In production full time with the mix down from recorded sessions banging right into my ear canal. The final master with the clients and I count stacks. It's been a mighty long minute since I last wrote a verse so potent that it made my own skull snap. But no matter, they say there's no vacancy for the lyrically inclined, cause everybody wants to dance. They're even chastising my fellow adversary who possesses still pain in his veins and has the sauce dripping off him like a baby back out on a plate for consumption. And in the midst, humanity's still bugging like say something. But nah, I won't say it loud. My scars are too deep for me to speak with the crowd. I identify with a sad sense of entitlement, and since I'm in pain, it's not that hard to work out. I don't have to spell it out. That is how they cast a spell on themselves, and pointing fingers doesn't really help except magnify the very issue being raised. Cause this life is a game and you are what you see, and what I see is greatness, divine and unfiltered. The beats are generated with the narrative awaiting. The words are immaculate and crystallize the vision. Now let us bow our heads, for we are all merely fragments of the grand design, merely pieces on the chessboard. Less is more, I stay quiet, you'll absorb what I give you on a silver platter. The head of John the Baptist or something less likely, the blood spatter. This is administration of CPR, so just breathe.
I know. Guys, no.
I almost forgot the words there.
To everyone who wants to know more about Khabazela socials, bangakuthola kuphi?
Instagram, it's I am Theo Keys. Yeah? Same with Twitter, I am Theo Keys, and then Facebook is Theo Keys.
Guys, the insight. And Msomi, we out.
And the music is there. Yeah, go listen, and then hit me up if you hate it, and then we'll talk it out. Okay.